And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another OSR Tabletop with myself, Richard GM Bloodworth, and I'm still waiting for Thom to log in, but as soon as Thom is ready and logs in, I'll bring him right in from backstage. I am looking to talk about his Kickstarter, as well as, just hold on one second, I'm sorry, I'm going to get overlap here. Sorry. So I'm waiting for Thom to, check in, and we will be talking about his latest Kickstarter, as well as ShireCon. But in the meantime, while I have you here and watching, just wanted to talk a little bit about my gaming this week. So far, it's been a pretty productive week as far as preparing for new campaigns and launching a new campaign last night. So I finally got into my Amazing Adventures campaign last night with a group of players. I'm going to do a session one recap tomorrow. So I got the opportunity to invite Thom on this evening or tomorrow night, whichever one. So I wanted to get it done tonight because then on Friday, that's the closeout of his Kickstarter. So I wanted to give at least 2 days prior to that to jump in. So while I'm waiting on Thom, continuing to talk about Amazing Adventures, we had a great time last night. The system is very, very familiar. If you are familiar with Castles and Crusades, then it's essentially the same system. So really excited about launching that new campaign and getting just a different genre of play. So I've been kind of burnt out a little bit on fantasy RPGs, and then just to be a total hypocrite of towards myself, I'm looking to start a new AD&D First Edition campaign, which will begin on Friday. And here is Thom now. So let me bring Thom on in. Hey, Thom, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, good. Good sound too. We probably have better sound than I do. So that's really good. How you been?
I've been good.
Been good. So I was just prepping everybody. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the Kickstarter, because that's that ends on Friday, and then ShireCon and how that's all shaping up and looking for towards next year, and then anything else you want to talk about. So you will have free reign, to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So good. See, we're both dressed for the occasion. All right. So I'm wearing ShireCon 2024, and you are wearing the new one. So
yep, the new one.
So this year I'm going to make sure that I actually order one ahead of time. Instead of thinking that I did. That's what I did with Page. When I went to Page 2, I was like, I could have sworn I ordered one, but I guess I didn't. So yeah, I will certainly make sure I will order it this time ahead of time. I think I did last year, but there's always touch and go. Last year, I'm going to say one thing about last year. So your convention was the first one that gave us challenge coins. And I absolutely loved the fact that, there were challenge coins, and the fact that it was at a VFW on top of that, because that's a very military thing to have. And so it was really a great time. So actually let's talk about ShireCon 2024 first. So because I think this is the first time that we're actually talking about, post last September. So how did ShireCon 2024 go for you?
It went well. I mean, it was our sixth year. We had a new venue again because the venue for the previous year we had some trouble with the contract and getting that for a second year. So we switched to the VFW. The new commander of that VFW, I say new, he's been there probably I think a decade or so, but he's really done a lot to try to make it a universal space for everyone to use. And they rolled out the red carpet for us, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
We paid for the venue, which was a very reasonable price. We also donated half our silent auctions to the VFW, and they had one of the greatest weekends in sales at the food building they've ever had. Our congoers like to eat, so they ate a lot, which was good.
And the food was good. The food was
and they're
actually
very excited
very,
about
very
having
good.
us back. So
Yeah.
we're excited. We're excited to go back. I'm going to be meeting with the commander in the next couple of weeks to just iron out a few things here and there. But it's going to mostly be it's a done deal. It's solid. We're good to go. It's just it's about me getting in there and just keeping it in fresh in his mind that we'll be coming back and what we'll need. They did ramp up the amount of food for preparation, which was good because a lot of times either venues or local businesses around your venue don't really believe you're going to have that many people. They did, which was great. Because in other years, the businesses around the venue were surprised by the number of people, even when I've told them we're going to get this many people. So, but it was good. We're going to make some changes in 2025. I'm not sure what those changes are yet 100% because I'm still working out with my kids who do a lot of the volunteering on that day. Trying to figure out what we're going to do, what we're going to try to do, what we're going to, test, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Your kids did a great job. I mean, at the registration table, at the, check-in table, and, just running the merchandise table and everything like that, and walking around. I think one of your daughters was actually walking from table to table and checking in on things. They did a great job. So,
yeah, it's turned into a family affair for sure.
Yeah. And I remember you saying that they're trying to free you up so you can get some gaming in yourself. So,
right.
Is that looking good for 2025 or?
I think I'm gonna pull back to just running the Tavern Brawl. I loved running the ShadowDark game, but this year I plan on going to more cons, so I'll probably get all my gaming in at those cons, and then just do the Tavern Brawl on Saturday night, and gives me more time to just shake hands and visit with people. Running a game is fun, but there's a lot of prep for that, as you know, and prepping for that on top of trying to run a con was just a little tough. So I'll pull back this year, just do the Tavern Brawl, I think.
Cool. And you'll probably get pretty much the same crowd that, I mean, there are so many people that I have met at ShireCon, because really, I think ShireCon was the first convention I went to in person after the pandemic. So that was my first one, and many of the players and other individuals that I met there were the same people that I ended up seeing at Rising Phoenix, and then later on at back at ShireCon again, and then Philadelphia Area Game Expo and such. So we're kind of forming, I think, in general, everyone is starting to form like a network of familiar faces, let's say, for all of the various conventions in the tri-state or quad state now, convention scene that we've been going to since 2020, let's say. So really, the last 5 years, I think that we were actually seeing a big resurgence of convention going. So that's really something I think was missing from the East Coast. For the other than the big ones like PAX East and and those, but I think these other ones coming up, including yours, as is something that was much needed in the area. So that's good to see. So let's talk a little bit about your so you're writing, and you're focusing on for the most part, ShadowDark, and what I really love is that you're focusing on the Hyborian Age as the setting for for your ShadowDark adventures. So
Sure. Yeah. So I like you, I'm a huge Robert E. Howard fan, Conan fan, and when I started reading ShadowDark and playing it a little bit, I thought to myself, this is a perfect system for that kind of world, grim and sword and sorcery and weird stuff, and just felt natural to kind of push them together. So I was surprised at how well the Slumbering City did. That first one that really was sort of leaned into the Hyborian Age and ShadowDark. I've done some brochure adventures that have been people have liked, and then now I'm doing the Tower of the Outer God, which is a spin on the Tower of the Elephant. The Kickstarter ends on Friday. I ran the last playtest at TotalCon, which went very well. I actually used one of the stretch goal brochure adventures to start the adventure off too. So
cool.
Yeah, it worked well. They had a small number of players. I think I want to say we had 4. Yeah, because it's supposed to be a sort of a sneaky approach to the tower as opposed to smash everything as you go.
Right.
And so I went with 4 players in that, and that was the perfect amount. There were some level things that I'm gonna just tweak a little bit before we get it to print, but for the most part, it was right on where I wanted it to be. So
cool. And actually, I'm going to share screen now and actually show off the show that off for a second. Let's see how I share screen, and let me make sure I bring up the right screen. So this should be it. Yes. So all of you should see this momentarily, I guess. And it's actually just ticked up a couple pledges while I'm looking at it. So here we have Tower of the Outer God, a ShadowDark adventure from from Thom here. And let's see, I forget this. Sometimes they give the stats and everything. So how many Kickstarters have you done so far?
Oh boy,
quite a few, right?
I want to say over 20.
Okay.
I think over 20. And 20. I want to say 20 successful ones, because there was 1 or 2 that I didn't make it early on, very early on in my Kickstarter career. I think this is number 27. I want to say.
Wow. Yeah.
And the last,
I forget where it shows that. Like, it does have it like an author's bio.
It's on the right hand side. I think because you backed it, I think you'll have to go down a little bit past your backing, and then you see it.
I see. So let's see.
There it is. Oh no.
Did I skip over it?
It should be up there somewhere.
Yeah, it's there somewhere. Maybe it's not on the campaign. Maybe it's on the rewards. No.
It'll probably show more than 27, but because there was some that didn't make it, and I have a couple that are just sitting out there that haven't been launched yet, that it kind of got built but are just sitting there.
There it is. Yeah. Now it came up. So
30. Yeah. So I think 27 successful. I think there was 1 or 2 that didn't make it, and I've got 1 sitting there that's not launched yet. So
I see you back 272.
Yeah, I'm a creator that likes to play games too.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to the campaign, and we'll do this. Yeah, now it's not giving me the same view of everything. So yeah, you obviously crushed your pledge goal. So you're well beyond that, and and I gotta say, I mean, the price points on this, I mean, $17 for a print on demand, along with the PDF as well, and any stretch goals that are attached to this are going to be I mean, that's a great buy. All right. And then you have your you pretty much use the same group of artists, correct?
Well, yeah, this one is entirely Joey Dossel in the interior.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll mix up a few different artists, but Joey's a great artist out of New York City, and he is a huge Conan fan as well. So whenever I'm doing something Conan related, he's eager to do as much work as he can for it. So I told him, I said, this one's all yours. You get all the art and the inside. And and he was thrilled to do it. So all the art's his.
Cool. So the stretch goals you've hit. Funded, then Prelude brochure, Prelude 2 brochure, the alt ending brochure adventure. That's interesting. So you have alternative endings for the adventure?
I do, because if you remember the story of Tower of the Elephant, there's a giant ruby, right? And if the players follow the story and do sort of the right thing, then obviously the ruby is sort of destroyed and not you can't keep it. But if the players decide not to do the thing they're supposed to do and they keep the ruby, then I've created an alternate ending that basically the ruby itself will entrap the characters, and instead of the traditional Howard ending, you have an ending where the characters are the targets inside the ruby. So, kind of just what do you do when your players don't do what you want them to do? This is the alt ending for that. So,
yeah, and then so at 6,000, the character pre-gens with art, and those are great pre-gens that you came up with with the last one. I absolutely love them. Reused them, over and over again. I've run the Slumbering City probably like 6 times at conventions.
excellent.
So quite a bit. And now I'm retiring it for my own, so I'll be running my own at your convention. Like I said, I'm never going to run one of your adventures at your convention. All right, and it's like I don't need the pressure, of running it. Unless you want to play in it, then I'll run it. But for the most part, it's like I don't need that pressure. I'm just going to, run my own and run some other ones as well.
Yeah, sure.
But no, the Slumbering City is just such a great adventure for convention play. Every time that I've run it, the players have found a different way, going throughout it, and I of course altered it from what you originally had set up and everything. Like I do this thing with when they're looking down over the wall and they're looking inside the place that it's like a mirage that they're seeing down there, and then once they go below like the 10-foot ceiling mark, they come down and they actually see that it's like sand. And then when they tried, like one of the first groups that actually got the gem of the Leviathan, not going to be able to say it. The big gem, Leviathan. They weren't able to pull it up past the level. It got stuck in there, and that was kind of like a Howardian, ending that you don't actually get the treasure, and that's because they didn't kill the main boss in in the Temple of the Snake, and but the last group that run it, actually Decato's group that ran it, they were successful. Was it Decato's group that was successful? No, actually they weren't successful with it either. Decato, remind me if I'm wrong. It was the group at Page 2 that actually was successful. They killed the big boss and they got out. So it was like, all right, you're the first group that succeeded, and now I probably don't have to run it anymore. I'll come up with something else to run. So and I also ran your the War of the Valley, War in the Valley at Page as well. I ran nothing but ShadowDark at Page. So it's a great convention game system.
Oh,
so
great! Yeah,
everyone, if you haven't backed this yet, absolutely back this. You're in for a real treat. They're great adventures, and with plenty of room to flex it around to your own taste and whatnot. But they're really great adventures, and very Robert E. Howard-esque kind of thing. So really does play in well. So now, is this one going to be set in the same location that the tower was in? So it's going to be in the city of ShadowDark?
Yeah, exactly. The city, I call it the City of Thieves. Yes.
Yes. So
Yep. So sit there, and but it doesn't lean too heavily into the city itself,
right.
because that's obviously be a huge setting. It just says that this is now in the temple quarter of the city of thieves. The tower sprung up overnight, and you're sort of there's multiple hooks in order to get sort of into trying to figure out what's going on there. Of course, the biggest hook is that there's a vast treasure, that basically is,
Mhm.
a lifetime's worth of with wealth, and it gets people excited about getting in there. And there's, all sorts of things that we've thrown in there just to sort of make it interesting. Um, it stays faithful to the story for the
Mhm.
most part. There's a few, wrinkles thrown in there, a few additions to kind of flesh it out further. Um, but it's I think people that love Howard's work and love this story in particular will be pleased with that. It follows the same framework.
Great. Any new classes with this one?
Nope. I think because it suits the barbarian, the thief, the fighter
Mhm.
pretty well. I felt like it was, the classes that needed to play this one were already present, and
Already in
I'm
there.
not gonna reinvent the wheel
Right.
on
Yeah.
that. Um, I personally, I think that too many classes for a system sort of is what pollutes it over time. Like to kind of keep it lean. There's
Mm.
nothing wrong with role playing variations to your class, but having too much of that extra stuff does start to make it kind of bog systems down. So I added the barbarian only because I felt like it needed to be represented
Yes.
for some of the Shadow Dark Hyperborea, or
Mhm.
Hyboria rather. I get Talanians in there
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Hyboria's crossover kind of really fleshed out.
All right. Yeah, so really looking forward to it. Can't wait to, pick that up. And when do you anticipate that's going to? I didn't even look to see when it was projected.
Well,
Uh,
it is. My editor is he said he's going to be done Friday
hmm,
with the edits, and then what I'll do is I'll integrate his edits, and he and I will have a conversation about things. As always, we go back and forth on a couple things. If he's suggesting something I don't like, or I accept what he suggests, or we might take another week or so. Um, then I'll do layout. I already have all the art and all the maps, so that's easy. And then the pre-gen's already done because I used them at TotalCon with all the art too as well. I have to finish writing the second Prelude adventure and the alt ending
mhm.
adventure. Those aren't fully written. The first one's fully written and needs to be edited for Brochure Adventures. The fourth Brochure Adventures already written and edited. That was going to be released on its own, and I decided to hold it for this. And that's going to
Cool.
be sort of a Halls of the Dead feel. So you
Mhm.
have the giant slug in the ruins kind of thing.
Right.
So that was a nice little side adventure too. Um, so yeah, so I feel like it's looking like the main adventure will be ready in PDF by um, mid-March,
Cool.
and the print on demand should be late April.
All right. So pretty quick turnaround. It'll
Yeah,
be
I
it'll
mean,
be
I
there
try
in time for ShireCon.
Yeah,
So
I always have it. I always have them written before I kickstart them, and then
yeah.
I try to have them at least in edit and either some or all of the art and some or all of the maps done by the time I kick it, because I just like to have a lot of the work sort of completed, before I get into it. So
Yeah. And Teresa, you're absolutely right. I mean, and it is absolutely booming at conventions. I see it everywhere. I see it, taking up dozens of gaming slots. So it is well represented at at conventions thus far, and they're kickstarting. Arcane Library is kickstarting three new zines in March 11th, I believe it's going to launch.
in a setting,
So, yeah, yeah, and the
Western,
setting. Yeah, they're working
yeah,
on a
the
setting
Western
as
Reaches.
well.
Yep.
Yeah, I think when I was reading the preview of it, it was mentioning that these are the Western lands, so they're starting to plot out these zines as far as placing them in
Mhm.
placing them geographically, so
Mhm.
that they are starting to develop a setting world, which is
That's
pretty good
great.
idea. I think
That's
it,
great.
it
Yeah.
will give the system a lot more legs going forward, in the future as well. But I think 2025 and 2026 are going to be big years for ShadowDark as well. So it is a neat and really does show itself. It's a very fun game system. It's a great game system, and even with my games that I've been running with it, and I incorporated a slightly different token mechanic than what was in ShadowDark, because my adventure that I wrote, I actually originally wrote that for Conan 2D20. So Modiphius is Conan 2D20, and the transition was very, very easy to go from that system to there. Just needed to create a quasi momentum system for ShadowDark, and I think it worked out pretty well. And I will be running that at ShireCon. So let's talk about ShireCon 2025. So I know you already started mentioning that you've already been in contact with the venue, and it's going to be the same venue as last year, and it was a phenomenal venue. So you were thinking about what's some of the new things that you already know that you're going to do for it.
At this point, not everything that I'm planning to do is guaranteed to happen because I'm still working through it. But there's a couple things that I want to do. One is I want to do I want to add a feature that allows people to solve a puzzle or a riddle to get tokens or to get stickers rather that they can put on their program that when presented gives them a slight discount on the food or beverage. So I'm trying to work that out with the VFW. Let them do some things. Like if you go visit this vendor, then they get a sticker, and if you visit the Reg booth to look at T-shirts, you get another sticker or whatever. And then when you get enough stickers, then you can cash it in one time only for a discounted beverage or whatever, or some food or whatever. I mean, I'm working with the commander on that to figure that out. So that's something I'm trying to work out. A little bit of just a little fun little thing on the side.
Cool.
We're also looking to lean into the veteran thing a little bit more. So I'm contemplating. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do this, but I'm contemplating either early access, game access for veterans players. Just because I'm just trying to want to do more. Want to do more for veterans, and because we're out of VFW, and they've been great for us, and we're trying to help them as much as we can. I figured it would be cool to sort of bring the players into that and giving them some, so veterans who are players can get early access to games. Maybe potentially, I got to work that out because it's not just. I can't just turn that on. There's got to be some sort of
right. It's got to be connected somehow to to tabletop events and badge types and all of that.
So I have to sort of figure that out, but I'm trying to do something more with that. We're gonna probably make some changes to how the vendors are laid out because one of the things that you do when you run a con is that you solicit feedback after to sort of figure out what went well or what was not so great. And some of the vendors didn't like their space downstairs. Some of the players didn't like how close the tables were, and that's understandable in a small venue. So we're going to have to make some changes this year and figure out how that's going to work. We may have less vendors, or we may have vendors in a different spot. We may put up some dividers between tables to sort of dampen the noise a little bit. Probably not have any more tables, but maybe spread them out more. With less vendors or vendors in a different spot to sort of give people more space. So we're working that out now. I'm working with my daughter, my oldest daughter, to sort of figure that out. Then I'll talk to the rest of the kids and other volunteers to figure out what they think. Obviously, got to talk to the venue about some things, but there's patio space downstairs that was unused. There's another bar downstairs with tables that were unused. I feel like there's an opportunity to sort of spread out a little bit more. I just got to talk to them and see what they think. So we'll work that out over the next couple months, and then next month, I traditionally in March is when I start really laying out tabletop and getting it ready to go. So expect to see badges and game submissions in the next 30 days, and then we'll watch that carefully and then open up, other things, over the next several months. I don't like to do it too early, but I don't like to do it too late either. So
Right. Yeah, March is March, mid-March, end of March is still that's still
6 months.
6 months ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So it's
about the right
plenty of
number for me.
time for it to continue developing and hashing out some of those ideas and giving people time to prepare for it or whatnot, and then probably by June, that's when people will start feeling, all right, I need to sign up for it now and get those things rolling. So that should be well timed out, and it should come out fine. So really looking forward to it. I had to come back on unfortunately, I couldn't go to TotalCon. I actually, thankfully, I wasn't scheduled to go to TotalCon because we had a really tough last week as it is. As a family, our family dog passed away, on my wife's birthday. So that was, even more, traumatic. And that was just last Tuesday. So not yesterday, but the Tuesday prior to. And I think TotalCon was this past weekend, right? So
it was. Yep.
Yeah, so that would have definitely. I was like, thank God I didn't sign up for it, and I can't do Rising Phoenix because I'm going in for a medical issue the week before, and I don't want to risk, not being able to go in and having people commit to playing at my tables and whatnot. So really, my next three conventions are, our AutoCon, which is tiny. That's early June, and then Central New York, the Central New York RPG Con up in Utica. That's mid-June, and then yours and September. So, and then that will finish out, from what I can tell, my 2025 season of conventions, and then I'll be looking to change things up a little bit next year and hit some. Maybe I will put TotalCon in there, or probably Rising Phoenix. I don't know if I'll end up being able to go to Philadelphia again. It's always so hit and miss with the weather going down there. It's a great con, but it's like,
right.
It always seems to snow that weekend. So it's a tough time to try to figure that out and see how that's going to play out. And that's a big con too. In my view, it's a big con. I like smaller, 200-300 people conventions, and 2,000 is kind of almost overwhelming. So smaller cons is my thing as well. Sure. So let's see if we have any other. Let's see. We have some people. So Teresa's talking about. So she's not a fan of. Sadly not a fan of class-based systems, but she likes how ShadowDark handles leveling up. Yeah, and that's because it's a random ability increase, based on that, and it's not dramatic either. It's like adding sometimes you get to add a point and this attribute or that, and or another advantage in some other kind of non-combat way as well. So it's a very good system, easy to use. Ducato, who was at ShireCon last year, he went to the first time. That was his first time going to ShireCon last year. So anyone has I can't talk. Has anyone committed to actually being there this year that was there like last year? Like is like Joseph Block going to be there, and Eric Tenkar, and any of those individuals, Jeffrey Talanian.
Yeah, I talked to a bunch of them at TotalCon. Eric's gonna be back. Jeff's gonna be back. Joe was supposed to be at TotalCon, but I guess he got sick that morning and didn't come out. He had talked to me offline and thought maybe that he would come, but not set up a booth. So that's TBD. If he wants a booth, that's fine. If he doesn't want a booth, that's totally fine too. But it sounds like he's coming to ShireCon as well. I'm pretty sure Ian McGardy's going to be back as well from Silver Boulay. We're hoping to eventually get Levi back. He's been, he's had some issues getting to cons the last year or two, but I'm hoping he's back for ShireCon this year. Let's see.
Rob Connolly.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him since the con, so I don't know if he's committing to it or not. I think a lot of people that are from this state, northern, either eastern or northern New York, like New York City or New York proper, Massachusetts. I'm going to get Matt Roberts in that contingent. We're going to get a lot of the same people. I do have to say though, at TotalCon, I did get a lot of people come up to me and ask me about ShireCon that I've never been. So
cool.
There may be a push of a few extra people, which would be interesting. I think we top out in that venue close to 175. So we'll see. We had 155 badges last year, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, we get just a lot of interest and a lot of people have it on their radar.
Cool. Yeah, it was, like I said, I mean, it was a perfect venue for the size that it was at, and space wise, as far as like the vending space that was downstairs. I mean, I think there was like 3 gaming tables, and then the rest was all vending, and that was that seemed to be fine. That worked out pretty well. I think it was 3 tables downstairs for gaming.
There are 4. There are 4.
All right, so 4 tables for gaming, and then the upstairs there was at least 10 tables.
We had 12 tables upstairs.
All right. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good sized venue, and it was good for the size of the convention itself, and and I can't beat 55 minutes away from my house either. It's like,
it's a good distance away. Sure.
Yeah. Not too bad. Not too bad to head out there. So what else do you have in the works?
Well, let's see. After Tower of the Outer God, I have a Morkborg hack I'm writing right now. I have an exclusive ShadowDark for North Texas in June, plus the other exclusive for North Texas, which is a spin on In Search of the Unknown, which I don't know if you're familiar with the North Texas ones, but we do a little extra content for those. This year it'll be B1.5, which is Beneath the Unknown, which will be an extension of that adventure. So that's will be the other exclusive there. I have a Gamma World adventure that I'm writing for Gamma World First Edition for Rising Phoenix that I may have ready for North Texas to sell, but most likely will be later. And I have a ShadowDark Mega Dungeon that I've finished writing that I need to go back through one more time and then start to edit. That's going to be a hardcover 13 level Mega Dungeon. And when I say Mega Dungeon, I mean what makes sense for a Mega Dungeon for ShadowDark, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking like 13 levels, the total of 155, 160 encounter areas. So it's not like Mega Dungeon, like 500 places. It's a lot smaller. Encounter number, but it's just deep, right? 13 levels, that's pretty deep. Even though a level may only have 6 rooms in it, it's still deep, and it requires a little bit of effort to get to stay safe during that delve.
Right.
So that one, that's a hardcover. That one already has a beautiful cover by Luis Prado, who is the cover artist for Slumbering City. He did another cover for me for that one. That one doesn't technically have a name yet, so I'm still working that out. But the cover is gorgeous. He did a fantastic job there. So that one will also get released this year. So I got a bunch of stuff coming this year. I probably got 8 to 10 things that'll probably come out this year. So yeah, a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm still just tweaking my Shards of Ymir and just cleaning it up a little bit and trying to figure out how I'm going to format that, because right now it's written on index cards, like the whole thing, including the stat blocks and the images and everything like that. It's all laid out on index cards, and I'm like, how do I publish this? I don't think I can publish it in index card form, so I'd have to Have to see how to publish that on like drive-through or something like that, in what form I possibly can. The thing is that it could only be a PDF if it is, index cards. At least from what I can tell, it's the only way it can go. I might be able to put it on a spread where there's 2 index cards per page and produce it that way.
Sure.
I still cannot for the life of me figure out how to do the booklets. I tried doing that one time with another adventure, and I was like, it's just beyond me. I have no skill at layout and format. I don't even use the proper programs. Like I'm sure you use InDesign or something like that. I mean, that's like probably the main one, right?
I use Affinity Publisher, which I like. So.
I tried using Affinity Publisher, and I still couldn't make heads or tails of that. I'm just like I was like, that kind of thing is just
a lot of trial and error.
Me. I think I could write an adventure pretty well and, make them interesting and a lot of fun to run and play. But when it comes time for actually formatting the stuff and doing layout and that kind of thing, I'm just not able to do it. And I don't want to resort, and I know you don't either. I don't want to use AI art or anything like that. For my home use one's fine. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm looking to publish something, I'm either going to get, archived art that's free to use, those kinds of things. But I don't want to generate anything. I'd rather get someone who is reasonable and have them do the artwork for it. But that particular adventure is like, there's like 17 pieces of art. Like it's so many to lay out onto the table, the way I have it designed. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to run that at ShireCon. And you're still doing the contest, right? You still do the contest or planning on doing the contest for the adventure modules?
Yep. So last year was our first year doing the adventure writing contest. And then we kind of started it late. So that's going to be something that comes out pretty early, probably even next month. We'll start socializing the need for people to submit those. We are going to change the name of the award. We're gonna be calling it the James Carpio Award, after James Carpio, who sadly passed after ShireCon. I've talked to Mary, and she agreed to let us call it the James Carpio Award. So that will be this will be the second year for that. I'm hoping that we get a number of submissions and make it really competitive. Right now, it's still going to follow the same format, which is that it must be a convention adventure that you can run in a convention block, and you must be in attendance and running it at the con to qualify. That way, it sort of really forces people to, eat their own medicine,
Yeah.
So, and I think that what we did last year, I think it worked really well. We'll change up the judges this year. I'm going to try to get special guests to do the judging. Last year, I think the timing was not quite right. So I've started talking to a few of them at TotalCon, and they're mostly on board. So we'll figure that out as we get a little closer. But if you have something you want to submit,
well, probably
I suggest get it ready.
I'm ready to roll, I think. So yeah, I will probably submit that.
Good, excellent.
Yeah. Now you also were doing. I know you do it's not an auction. Well, no, you do an auction, correct? Or you do the raffle thing with those things. And last year was the first time I won. So it's like so I actually won one of the raffles last year. Do you do you don't do auctions or like you take donations, right?
Right. So we take donations, and then we turn those into the silent auction. So you just basically, you write down what you're willing to pay for an item, and then somebody can either outbid you or you'll win it because you have the highest price. We try to do about 15 of those per game block. We'll probably change that up a little bit this year. We're probably not going to do one. We're probably not going to have a set of auctions for the first block on Friday, since that's the least attended. So we'll probably let Fridays, the first and second block, roll together on Friday as one auction block.
Right.
And then we'll do our Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening block. We might wrap the Saturday evening block up early though, because last year we had to chase people down in the parking lot to get their items to them after they left. So we don't want to do that again. So we'll do that differently a little bit. But yeah, we had over. I want to say we had over 75 items we auctioned off, which was nice.
Yeah.
Like I said, half that money went to the VFW. So
Nice. All right, and so is the con looking to go to a full 2-day, or?
this year we're going to continue with the 1.5 day.
All right.
There's been a lot of chatter about extending it or changing it to Saturday, Sunday. I think for now we're going to leave it Friday half day and then Saturday. It makes it the best travel con for people. People leave on a Friday, get there Friday afternoon, and leave either Saturday night or Sunday morning if they've got to get to drive 3 hours or whatever. They can easily make that work. So try to be balance the length of the con with people's ability to get in and out comfortably. So for now, Friday afternoon, Saturday all day.
Yeah, it's a great time. Like I said, I'm kind of spoiled because I'm only 55 minutes away. So although AutoCon is only 7 minutes away from me, so I can't.
That's even better.
Yeah, it's even better. But let me, while I have you on here, let me do because every month we get 10 free memberships for the channel. So I'm going to just throw these out here and do the last 5 for this month.
Okay.
And let's see. And I am going to gift this now. And let's see who has received. So Paul, the Esoteric Order of Nerdity, Bob Vecna, Hyrax, and Guardian of the Rune. So congratulations to all of you, and you are eligible to go to my Discord, and in my Discord channel, you just say, hey, I want a free membership. You will get a member role that also opens up all playing slots, so that if you see a game you would like to jump in, either as like a guest appearance as an NPC, or if I have an opening in one of my games, and you will get first dibs on that. And all of my games are online, but also if you run into me at a convention like ShireCon and you're a member, you can come in and say, hey, I'm a member of you're actually ShireCon. I don't think it was last year, it was the year before. That was the first convention that I went to where somebody actually recognized me, and they were like, hey, I watch your channel. And I was like, just blown away. I was like, oh, that's crazy. So, but it's great to meet all you guys. And, like Ducato came down from Nova Scotia or some crazy far-flung, it's like Maine. He came down from Maine for ShireCon. And so it was great to meet him there. And it was a lot of fun. And
that's great. I mean, I love seeing people come from a little bit of a distance. I mean, I'm not expecting people to come from far away because it's a 1.5 day con, but we get everyone from, Maine to Vermont to New Hampshire to Connecticut to Massachusetts to Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Maryland. We get a pretty good smattering along the East Coast, and I feel like that's
Virginia's a schlep though. That's a long ride. That's what is that, like 8 hours?
Yep. They come in, Friday, get in late maybe, or leave really early and get in pretty good, and then they're there till Sunday and then head home. But there's a couple have done it. So
So once I get the posters, because you were going to send me some posters.
Yeah, they left today.
Oh, they left today. So once I get those, I am going to bring those to a couple gaming shops that's right by me, and then I will. I'm going to put one at the public library here in Pleasant Valley, and that might hopefully attract some people. I only have one big gaming store by me, and that's in the mall. So that one should get a lot of notice and a lot of traffic going in through there and checking it out and everything.
Cool.
So
I think I sent you 6 posters.
Huh?
I think I sent you 6 posters. So.
Yeah, that's perfect. Because I only have like 4 or 5 places, that I think might put eyes on it. And then, I'm going to put one behind me here so I can always, just like I do with Roger's little, his little postcard ones and show those off. And I got to stop by a place and drop off some of his as well.
Cool.
So, yeah, that'll be great. It was a great time. I'm looking forward to coming back this year. Yeah, and it'll be great to see you again, Takata. And we'll see. I want to save some time. I might only run one game this year, and then the rest of the time I want to play. I was in Rob Connolly's game. That was great. I was in Jeffrey Talanian's game. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play in one of Joseph Bloch's games and just check that out and see how that goes. And then to see who else is there. I've played in the past in Eric Tenkar's game. So a lot of people are always, same people are running games there all the time too. So it's good to mix around and play in some games rather than just running them as well. So yeah, that's another thing I'm going to do this year is save more time in my block to actually play some games. And I have to try to make it to a brawl. Every time I miss the brawl, it's like last year. I think I was starting to come a little bit under the weather last year by the and I ran back to back, in I forget the exact timing of it, but I think I ran like 9 hours straight before the brawl, and I was like, just can't. It was out of wind, so. So that's something that I'm gonna, definitely try to leave room in my.
Yeah, you should, because it's the. I run Tavern Brawl at 3 cons, and it's ShireCon's the only one that gets the engraved dagger. So
yeah. So, all right, and let's see. So, and your next convention, you said you're going to Rising Phoenix, right?
I am. It's my first time to Rising Phoenix. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's the first time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great convention.
His date usually coincided with our fire company's live burn weekend, where it's a mandatory training exercise. But that they moved that to October, so now it frees up my April. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I wish I could go. But that's a great convention too. And I met Scott the first time at ShireCon. So. And he was like, "Hey, I run a convention too. Why don't you come out to it?" And I've gone there 2 times already. This would have been my 3rd, but that'll have to wait until next year. So yeah, that's a great convention, great venue too. That's a Hilton, DoubleTree Hilton, but it's a really good one. A great restaurant inside there, a bar restaurant inside there, and the breakfast buffet is nice.
I think they're going to be. I think there might be a new venue in 2026, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, there might not be there.
2026 or 2027, upcoming.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it can't be 2026. Yeah, that's 2 years off. 2 cons away for him.
So Scott was telling me that they might have to change venues. So.
Oh.
Not this year. Right. They're locked in this year, but next year maybe, or the year after. I forget now.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully it's that's not even that far from me. So, but hopefully it's around the same area. Because TotalCon is right there too. TotalCon is like 1 town over or something like that.
Yeah, I think TotalCon's like 5 or 10 minutes farther away from me.
Yeah. They're really next door to each other.
Yeah, Marlboro and Milford.
Yeah, I might try to do. I did a TotalCon back when it was virtual. So that was the first time I did TotalCon was maybe 2019 or 2020, around then, and I did a TotalCon. So, I will try to get out there because I see a lot of people go there. How big is that con? Like numbers wise, people wise?
TotalCon had 1,350 badges this year.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a lot of board gamers.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of board games. Yes, It's a big board game con. So they have like a qualifier for Catan and a few other board games. and then they have a huge room that's nothing but board games. So it's really known for board games. RPGs are still a smaller portion of that con, but it's big. There's a lot of tables. I think there's 40 tables for RPGs.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of those 1350 are playing board games.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be a little bit too big for me.
I would say that my guess is the RPG element of TotalCon is the same size as the RPG element as at Rising Phoenix.
Yeah.
500-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
So Scott's at I think 850 at Rising Phoenix, and that's going to be
That's much bigger than last year too.
Yeah, I think he's going to be pushing to over 1,000 next year.
Yeah, because he was like 350 the last time I went last year. He was like
he said 8. I think he said 8. I think he said 850, 750, 850. I think so. They're going to be bigger,
so
a little bit bigger this year, but they're pushing much bigger the year after. They're going to be jumping in size. So,
well, that's probably why they're going to change venue.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's a pretty big venue, but I guess it's just not big enough for that size of a convention.
I mean, he said the demand is there, so they're going to just grow.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, it really is. The cons are starting to really take off, and these smaller cons are doubling in size. And it's a great sign to see. And some new cons are sprouting up as well. And so that's really good to see as well. So you can find conventions of the size that you prefer, best. You can find tiny ones, you can find mid-sized ones, a couple hundred players, and then you can find the ones that 1,000 or more bad sales. So that's really good to see.
Yep.
All right. Well, Thom, thanks very much for coming on in, and you're welcome anytime. You're welcome to pop in.
Sure.
Like when I'm doing a live stream, I tend to do live streams actually on Thursday nights anyway. So, but anytime you're welcome to. I'll certainly have you come back in around June to really kick off, whether it's bad sales or just get, more people looking at, attending ShireCon.
Sure, that'd be great.
And good luck over at Rising Phoenix. Enjoy that and enjoy the rest of your gaming and putting all that stuff together as well.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So everyone, thanks for popping in, and thanks for your comments and everything. I'll be there my first time. There's a Rising Phoenix, right, Ducato? Yeah, it should be. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy Rising Phoenix. I so wish I could go. I really do. I was so geared up for it and ready to go, and just can't do it. But anyway, all right, everyone. Thanks for stopping in, and Thom, thanks for coming on again. And I am going to shut this thing down.